Hey, what's up, MythGuardians? Cool Cat here with another MythGuard deck. Today we're going to be going back to a deck that I have previously covered, but with the recent changes, I think that it's in a much better place. We're talking about mono purple Shinobis. This is my favorite deck. It was the very first deck that I really, had a hand in creating myself, and I think that it's just a lot of fun to play. You're very mobile around the board. It reminds me a lot of mono blue Valkyries, but it's slightly more based on board control and, not really having that one flashy last swing turn, but instead just really grinding out the board and getting in chip damage turn after turn after turn until, you're eventually just going to overrun the opponent. So as usual, we'll hop into the deck list, go over a replay or two, and then a short conclusion at the end. Alright, so looking at the list, we're going to start with the path and the power. For the path, we're going Turn of Seasons. It's just a pretty strong overall path. We're not really running any rush minions. I don't really like Journey of Souls without the rush minion payoff. And I'd much rather draw deeper into my deck than recur things like Samuzin or Tongfoot Soldiers. And for the power, we're running Impel. This is a very mobile deck. You are pretty much required to be able to go from one side of the board to the other to either get to the opposing threat or save your own minions and get around any blockers. And going over the list, there's not too much in the way of packages here. So we have 4 of the Racer and Shadows. That's going to be your standard spot removal fare. We have 4 of the Samuzin. It's just a pretty strong 1-drop. The potion that Samuzin offers is going to be pretty relevant in this deck. You have a lot of chances for value trades and then use the healing potion to heal your minion right back up. We have 3 of the Tongfoot Soldiers. This is going to round out our 1-drop slot. Tongfoot Soldiers got a lot better with the change. With Impel, it's also a lot better being able to position your minions in front of the opposing blockers. I've noticed that there's a lot less Impel on ladder as well, so your opponent most likely won't be able to dance around the demise effect. So use that to your advantage, always looking out to see what your opponent's running. We have 2 Ghosts in the system. Fix your opponent's draws for your own benefit. We have 2 of the Juiced. This is going to be another great mobility effect, especially with things like your Shinobi of Smoke or your Shinobi of Wind. Being able to move your Shinobis around the board is going to be pretty key to success with this deck. And the extra AoE +1/+1 isn't too bad as well. And one thing to keep in mind with Juiced is if you have 2 minions with an empty lane in the middle, you can play Juiced in the empty lane and hit the 2 outside minions. So that's something to keep in mind. We're running 2 of the Sword Saints. This is just another 2-drop. Getting the Biting Blade is pretty decent as well, allowing you to heal up with your continuous onslaught of attacks. We're running 2 Balance. This is actually some pretty good card draw. You can generally draw for 3 or 4 off of this, and in this deck you're not usually in that bad of a spot if you need to. And then we're running the Hotel Barkeep. This is a really well-statted 3-drop, and the powerful ramen that it gives you is going to be key as well. Using this to combo with things like your Shinobis or your Tongfoot Soldiers to move them into position is going to be pretty key to your success. And then we have the Rogue Eidolon. This is pretty much going to shut down an opposing threat. You can use the Blast 3 as well to take down a lot of other things. Let's see, we have 3 of the Shinobi of Fire. The Agile on this is going to be the key to this card, along with the 4 health. It's pretty tough to take down, and along with your Pentacle of Flavors, it's going to kill pretty much anything that tries to stop it. And then we have 3 of the Shinobi of Smokes. This is now the premier Shinobi. They buffed its stats to a 3/3, and now it has teleport, so you can snipe things from across the map, similar to what Shinobi of Wind used to do. But they kind of nerfed Shinobi of Wind here. They gave it Swift as opposed to Teleport, and Breach is a lot more difficult to get off with Swift than it is with Teleport. But with things like the Hotel Barkeep or with Juiced, you can get a couple of movement actions to make sure that you can get that Breach effect off. And then we have 4 of the Back Alley Ronin. This is a pretty easy effect to get off with this deck, so you're generally going to be playing this as a 4-mana 6/5. We have the God of Gamers. This is similar to the Shinobi of Smoke, and the Homeward Crown allows you to recur pretty much whatever threat you're looking to bring back. And then we have the Pentacle of Flavors. The key things that you're looking for with the Pentacle of Flavors is the armor, the regen, and the blast. The Focused and Slayer are cool and do come in handy, but not nearly as much as those other 3 stats that it offers. But for 4 mana, it better give you quite a lot, and it sure does, and it delivers pretty well, especially with your agile minions. And then we have 1 copy of each top-end card here. 1 Tarragon, giving you that Adamant Pearl item, allowing you to get overrun on things like your Shinobi of Wind or your bigger bombs like Back Alley Ronin, God of Gamers, Tarragon itself. And then we have the Celestial Dragon. This is just a big stat pile with Agile and Warded, so it's going to be tough for the opponent to take down. It's just a 6 mana 8/8 that's pretty much going to be hitting face every turn it gets the chance to. And most of the ways that your opponent would have to kill it right off the bat would be through things like banish effects. And with the banish effects, the demise doesn't go off, so you can still not worry too much about them getting that ring. And then we have 1 of the Lantern Colossus. This is a pretty good big guy. 5/7 with Overrun is pretty great. And then the Immolation Cloak, you can slap that onto something, get some AoE removal as well. So that is the deck. Let's go ahead and hop into a game and see how it plays out. Alright, so here we are up against Zakir Mad. They are running Smite and Disc. It looks like it's going to be a Necro deck. Give them the Bongo. So we have a decent curve. We have 1, 2, 3, along with our Balanced in Hand, and there's our 4. So I'm going to go ahead and drop down the Tong Foot right here. This is the defensive lane, ideally. I mean, they're probably not going to play something directly across, so we'll either get 2 damage in, or we can impel it over to get the 4 damage onto the opposing minion. They're both pretty cool things to get off. So they flipped the Disc, and they discarded a Sablewing Zera. So that's a very interesting thing for them to drop. We pulled up another Back Alley Ronin, so we'll go ahead and burn one. Gonna play the Ghost in the System over to the right. I would much rather them have the Raid the Tombs over that Eager Recruit. That Eager Recruit could stall me for a few turns. And they're not gonna be able to play the Raid the Tombs for quite a while, because you do have to sacrifice 2 cards from your Boneyard, and they don't want to do that because they want to be able to recur that Sablewing Zera. So they burned a big drop. They don't have the Necro quite yet, which is good for me. But one thing to think about, I am slightly getting punished here because I am leaving their health lower than mine, which doesn't mean too much, but it does mean that they're going to get that extra damage off of their Smite power per use, which could end up, adding up to quite a lot. So I'm pretty confident in being able to get this Back Alley Ronin off next turn. And it doesn't seem like they found the Necro quite yet, which is also good for me. And one of the other benefits of the Raid the Tomb that I gave them off of my Ghost in the System is that it's not a burnable card. They have already burned that card, so they're not going to be able to burn it again. And then this kind of sucks. The Scion doesn't take damage from spirits. One of my major minion snipers is a Spirit Ninja, so that's not really going to help me out too much. But I noticed that he doesn't have Impel, and so I can just pop this guy. Actually, I'll go ahead and use my Ramen, pop this guy right over here, and then just keep pushing that damage to his face. I'm going to burn off my Shinobi of Smoke. I'm going to play the back alley Ronin right here and hope that it picks up the Spirit, the Pride of Place spell, so that I can safely play my Celestial Dragon in the coming turns. But Zakir Mad is getting in quite a precarious position right now. Pretty low on health, and my board state is very strong. They're not anywhere close to any sort of sweeper. I believe the only sweeper option they would have would be an Armageddon Angel, which is quite a ways away. So there's a Detained. I guess they're going to be looking to play that Deported as well onto my back alley Ronin, which is fine. I'll pay 4 mana for them to use an entire turn. And then I'll just be able to play it again next turn alongside something like a Juiced. Well, I guess I can't play it alongside of a Juiced. I actually might not even play the back alley Ronin at all at this point. That Juiced is starting to look pretty good. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and play the Sword Saint, and then I am going to buff up these guys over here. I'm going to burn my Samuzin, play my Biting Blade, and then just deal a lot of damage. So they're down to 5. They are still going to be a turn away from their Armageddon Angel, and there's still no sign of a Hopeless Necro bringing back that Sable Wing 0. So they drop the parry. That's not going to be quite enough. That's still not quite going to be enough. So they're going to have another, something like Detained. And it looks like they don't quite have it. So that'll be GG there. And that just shows you the aggressive potential that this deck carries. You can really grind out those games pretty quickly. But yeah, on to the next one. Alright, and here we are up against 50 Man-Bear Pigs. That's right, 50 entire Man-Bear Pigs. So looking at our start, we do have a decent start. We have our Tongfoot into something. We don't quite have a 2-drop yet, but we do have a decent collection of 3s, so I'll take it. They are running Impelling Journey, so that's looking to be... Ooh, that's a blue burn. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to burn one of the Barkeeps here, and then I'm just going to drop the Tongfoot soldiers in the defensive position, because you're looking to get some trade-ups on this minion. Really get some value. So it's going to be a blue-purple mid-range type. One of the cool things about the Tongfoot soldiers is the demise effect triggers before the effect of something like an Einhard Thane. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Let's see, so that is a Lort. Interesting play from them. I'm going to burn my big guy because I can't play him for quite a while, and I don't particularly think that's not going to be a key card for me. Let's see, so the Lord has Lurker, but it doesn't have Agile. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop my Samuzin right there, and then swing in for 2 onto the 50 Man-Bear Pigs. So I have the Racer to combat anything that they might play to block with the Lort. And then I have Shinobi of Smoke to come down as well. Or I could also Hotel Barkeep. But I generally like to play Shinobi of Smoke and then Hotel Barkeep so that I can use that powerful Ramen to get that teleport effect off right away. So it looks like 50 Man-Bear Pigs is going to be going some sort of like Troll Tribal deck, which is really interesting. Alright, so they do have the Agile, which is pretty scary. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay. So that Shinobi of Fire might just be what we need. Can't even chip away at it. So I'm just going to drop the Shinobi of Fire so that I can start to build up those scrolls and then just really kill 50 man-bear pigs hopefully before my deck dies. I don't quite have a way to deal with this Lort. Other than something like a celestial dragon. That'll do it. Okay, so I'm gonna burn a smoke. I'm gonna play Shinobi of Fire. I'm gonna race her down that 2/2 so that I can at least get this 2 damage in. And I'm not going to worry about swinging in with the Simuzan. I'm just going to let him keep on milling me. I'm not too concerned. I have my Celestial Dragon in hand. I know that it's going to be pretty tough for them to deal with outside of like a Spirit Away, which is acceptable. But I'm going to have my Shinobi of Flame pumping in those scrolls over to the right. I have my Tongfoot Soldier getting that 2 damage in. Let's see, what did they just burn? Ooh, they burned the Pentacle. That would have been very strong to play on that Lord, but I guess you can't get them all. So I'm just gonna keep pumping that away, keep pumping that in. I'm gonna drop a Barkeep. And then I'm going to go ahead and burn the Shinobi of Smoke here. I'm going to play Juiced so that I can bring this guy over. Deal 1. I'm going to heal him right back up. I could have used my Ramen there, but I wanted to save that so I can dance around with my Shinobi of Smoke. Next turn, hopefully I'll get the Celestial Dragon down if I draw a burnable card. If not, I can just play my Smoke. Alright, so they Cataclysm. That's fine. That's definitely something I can deal with the Celestial Dragon coming down. That's going to be lethal next turn. Well, actually, they recur their bounce, so I guess we get to wait one more turn. So they at least have a way to answer the Celestial Dragon. And there it is. And they drop down the Thane. The Thane doesn't scare me too much. So I'm just going to go ahead and play the dragon again. Play it right in front of that 2/2 just to kind of taunt them. And hope they didn't draw another one. But if they did, I'll just play it again. No biggie. Unless they can close off all of the lanes, but even in that case, I can just impel it right on over. And so I guess they either have an answer or they don't notice that I have lethal in hand. With the Flame Scroll, they do have vision of that. They can see that I have the Flame Scroll. But can they do math? I know I can't do math sometimes. Looks like they're really thinking about it. All right, and we close it out thanks to the Flame Scroll. GG, 50 man-bear pigs. So that is the deck. It's a pretty strong mid-range to aggro style deck. I may consider this more tempo build because you're really looking to get a lot of value out of each card that you play, a little more than you typically would with, say, like an aggro build, and you have a lot less top end. You're able to get that job done a lot quicker than a mid-range build. But you use your Shinobis to go ahead and Shinobi it up, really. And you just can grind out those quick games and really just shove their life total down their throat. But as always, like the video. If you do like the deck, subscribe for more MYTHGARD content, and always GG for Matt.